Hendo.
Oh, hello there. What's going on?
It's all happening. We're back.
We are back. It's so good to be back.
It is good. This is going to be a bit of a different format because we've got a guest and they're ready to go right now.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, should I quickly introduce our guest?
Go for it.
So this is our first international guest, Dan.
That's cool.
Super stoked about that. So our guest today is someone who I met on the international beer judging circuit. I think I first met him, I think it was like, it was 2018. No, it might have been 2018, I think it was, when I started judging beer at the International Beer Cup in Yokohama, Japan. And he is a brewer. He is a international beer judge like myself. And he is also does things like beer sensory, beer cocktails, all that sort of thing. He's very much into the sensation or the sensory around beer. Unfortunately, what happened to him?
Wait, why don't you let him?
We let him in.
I'll let him in. I'll let him in.
Okay, let him in then.
All right.
Oh,
we're doing all this live, mate. This is exciting.
I know. Just winging it. Let him in.
Yeah. Wait, did we say his name yet?
No, we haven't said his name yet.
There we go. We just did an intro for you.
How are you, Michael? What's going on, mate?
Wonderful, I guess. Wonderful. Maybe the weather ain't so nice here right now as we've got fall
yes.
on the other side of the globe. So, and basically Poland is like at the same place like Canada. So yeah, you can imagine the weather is like.
Well, we haven't even said your name yet, so you may as well tell us who you are and what you do, mate.
Oh, basically. Well, I did send you the BO, which is like this.
Yeah.
Hi guys, I'm Michał Kopik. I'm from Poland. I'm basically, well, a brewer, a beer judge, a beer educator, a beer writer. I'm dealing with beer for 17 years right now, something like that. Yeah, I started homebrewing 17 years ago. So during the 17 years, I've worked in various breweries. I've dealt with dealing with malts, hops, whatever for both homebrewers and craft brewers in Poland. Right now, I'm in two breweries. The one that unfortunately you didn't have the chance to try, Hendo. 2 years
ago. Was that?
Yeah.
Is that the one that won the award in
Japan? Exactly. Yeah. Because we had to ditch to Tokyo. And
that's right.
I think the beer was in another round. something like that.
Yes.
When they put
Yep.
out the beer.
Yeah, and I missed it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just
It
gonna have
was,
to come over, mate.
Yeah,
I've
just
got some-
December
I've
we
got
can
some-
leave at least.
I've got some bottles left, so yeah, next time gonna bring them. I hope that next time we'll meet in Japan, or maybe. Did you get the invitation for the WBC?
World Beer Cup.
Yeah.
I am still yet to go through the application process to become a World Beer Cup judge. So, so I will be starting that imminently. I was actually speaking to our good mutual friend Lee McAllister Smiley from White Lies Brewing here in Brisbane, and he said to pass on a message. He says, one word: shots. Shots.
Shots from like 5-liter bottles of whiskey.
That's right. Yes. So, hey Dan, there's one thing you don't do, and that's don't get
Spend time with Lee?
don't get into a shot contest with a Polish person, because they will always win.
Okay.
And if you don't know, ask Lee. He tried and lost badly.
Right.
That sounds good. We should get Lee on the podcast. I haven't spoken to him for a while.
Great.
Wait, are we allowed to do the beer thing? What time is it over there? It's too early for beer, isn't it?
That's why I have coffee here, because it's 9:30 a.m.
Okay, we'll just say it's a beer and tell us what it tastes like. You can go first.
Oh, there's a fuckload of hints of coffee.
Oh wow! Okay.
black coffee. You've got dark roasted aromas, malts, maybe some vanilla in the background.
Nice.
Maybe some, because it's it will be with AeroPress added coffee. Let's say so. So with AeroPress added coffee, so maybe some hints of citrus, even some red fruits. Yeah, it's plenty. The carbonation is low. It's very low.
Okay. What's the head retention like?
Alcohol very low. Head retention.
Alcohol very low. Body medium to low, I would say. No hops whatsoever.
Wow.
I wouldn't say that there are any esters in this one. Yeah, it's totally dominated by the coffee aromas.
If there's no hops at all, that means it's not technically a beer, right?
Well, it can be a Groot.
Okay.
Oh.
All right.
He's got you there, Dan.
All right. Yeah. Fuck. I don't know much about beer, other than I've got one right here.
What do you got?
I've got a Black Ops Goat, because I'm still at work and I had to get a beer out of the lab. And this is what we've got in Sensory at the moment. So that's what I'm having.
For science.
Of course, a hazy IPA.
Hazy IPA. That's right. I've got the very first Black Ops Home Guard beer glass, which just got delivered today. This is our beer club that we launched last week. So
nice.
These look like cool glass. They're Craftmaster. Do you know the Craftmaster glasses? This is one of it too. Yeah.
That's good. Well, I've got the Revel Brewing Company cross Big Shed Brewing Company Neo Mexicanus Black IPA.
Nice.
Oh, that's maybe nice.
And so I have pulled this one out of the fridge, because I'm actually brewing a collab beer with Revel Brewing Company tomorrow.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm very excited.
We're doing a beer with them too.
Yeah, for their 5th birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm not going to do a review, because I'm going to embarrass myself after your review was so good. This tastes fruity and delicious. So that's it. How's yours, Hendo?
It is not fruity, but it is delicious. I would say I love how Black IPA, I've actually sat on this for a month or two, and it's actually holding up really, really well. Nice, lots of roast chocolate, not astringent, nice firm bitterness, and really good sort of a little bit of pine. And hang on a second.
One sip, everyone knows the rules.
Yeah, that's totally sound old schoolish. Yeah.
Old school Black IPA. Yeah.
What glass you got there, Hendo?
I just got a glass, because you've been giving me shit for the last few weeks about drinking beer straight out of a fucking can. And I wanted to get one that wasn't dirty. Now, this is the Revolution is brewing.
That's the can glass.
Yeah.
Yes, the can glass. Yeah.
So I've been giving him shit for not having a glass. So he gets a glass that's shaped like a can.
Yeah, I was given I don't know who gave this. It says thirst come, first served. So it's a brewery, but I just can't remember which brewery it is.
Okay. Well, I'm impressed you got a glass.
Thank you. Like just one step at a time, mate.
Yeah.
One step at a time.
That basically black IPA is a style that I totally miss right now because it's so old schoolish right now, especially the ones not on the tropical fruit aromas, but on the piney side. The Simcoe range aromas with a proper bitterness that you got on a higher
Chuck some
end
Chinook in there as well.
Oh, Chinook,
get those nice grassy notes happening, and just goes really well with this.
Yep.
Do you know what doesn't go well in a black IPA?
Coffee.
No, Galaxy.
Galaxy.
No. Because Galaxy hops are full of caraphyllene, and when you put it, and so that's the chemical compound in Galaxy that makes it taste like passion fruit. But under certain circumstances, if you have too much, or if you put Galaxy in a black IPA, it tastes like vanilla.
Ooh.
It's very strange. Now, how do I know that? So I tried it because I thought I'll do a Galaxy black IPA, and came out vanilla. Anyway,
interesting.
Life goes on. So anyway, hey, Michael, great to see you, mate. We haven't seen each other in ages, and so much has happened.
Like 2 years, basically 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. We normally catch up with each other once a year in Japan at the very least. We were actually you got invited to go to the judging in Korea as well.
2 years ago, right?
But that's right. Yeah, 2020.
Fuck, that was 2019, right? 2020.
Well, 2020, we were due to go to Korea and judge with Big John in Seoul for the inaugural Korean International Beer Awards. And then we were supposed to go later in the year to go back to Yokohama, I think it was supposed to be.
Yeah, and I was also supposed to go to San Antonio to the WBC.
Yep.
And it's like the only international competition last year that I went to was the Birra dell'Anno in Italy.
Yeah.
And after that, it all went to shit.
Yeah. What happened?
Yeah, we haven't given any context yet. We
haven't given you any context there. So
I actually have a proper T-shirt for today.
Okay.
Really?
Wow. Okay.
Okay, so if you're listening to the podcast, it's basically a black T-shirt that says in big letters across his chest, COVID-19, and then a toilet roll.
There's actually even a veteran on the lower end of the T-shirt. COVID-19 toilet paper veteran.
There you go.
So why do you have that shirt?
Yeah.
Well, basically the topic, as Steve said when he asked me for joining the podcast, was the COVID-19. And I actually had at least once, and I think twice, the COV.
Actually, you know it that well. You've got a nickname for it now.
Yeah. Basically, the first time was actually after Birra dell'Anno in February last year. Because there were cases at the Beer Attraction Expo Festival, whatever. How do you call it? Because there's a fuckload of people, right, from different places all around the world that see each other.
And it was in Italy as well.
Yeah, exactly.
February was early though, wasn't it? That was kind of just when it was.
Yeah,
well, that's when it really kicked off for Italy.
Yeah, actually, 1.5 weeks after we got from Italy, because there were 5 judges from Poland. Yeah, 5 judges from Poland. 4 of us were like slightly cold. Yeah, not ill, but seasonal cold. But 1.5 weeks after the competition and the Beer Expo, the Italian government shut down the whole area and was like, okay. And actually, one of the colleagues had it like for 2 weeks. Like 3 of us went, 37 degrees Celsius. It's not even a temperature that you're having a cold, to be honest. But one had it like for 2 weeks. So he actually called the Polish sanitary inspection if he should do the test or whatever. And they actually told him to fuck off because it was before the case 0, patient 0 in Poland. So
wow.
It's not this.
So they didn't want him to be patient 0.
They didn't want it to go back further than. Yeah.
Actually, some of my friends that went, for example, skiing in the Alps, Italian Alps, in the the old resorts that also had the COVID there, came back ill, and like, well, cold, not ill, sick, whatever. And it's, no, it's not this. It's not this. There's no cases in Poland yet, so it's not this.
That's
And the
crazy.
second,
Sorry. Go.
and but basically, as I told you in private messages, everyone in, for example, Warsaw, and probably in other major cities in Poland, who works in the pubs, gastronomy, whatsoever, was called. Yeah, you had like seasonal cold in January, after December parties, events, and whatever for companies. And actually, the newest development of the situation, let's call it this way, is that basically there were cases in Europe as soon as August or September
2019.
2019. Yeah, exactly.
The scary thing about that is I was there in September of 2019. I actually saw Marek at Frankfurt Airport when we were flying out to Tokyo. We're on the same
Was
flight.
he coughing?
No, he was fine then. He just got it in Italy the next year.
Right.
Yeah. And this, but the first time was this like it doesn't actually, you cannot distinguish it from a common cold. And the second time was the strain that actually switches off your senses. And it was in October 2020. And it was like, it's weird. It's like totally weird because, well, I do work with my senses, as we all do. It's like our most basic tool that we have for doing our job, to be honest. And it's not, it was weird because it's not like it gradually declined and you were like, oh, I don't smell this, don't smell that. It was like somebody just flipped a switch and it's off.
And you woke up in the morning and it was like gone.
No, it's not. In the evening, to be honest. I don't know if you've got something like amol in Australia.
You mean amyl nitrate?
Oh, what is it?
That?
That's basically let's say a medicine that our grandmothers, when we were children, would rub us with it.
Yeah.
Oh, we got big smoke rub.
Yeah.
I am big at amyl nitrate.
It smells like a stink out a whole room type thing.
Yeah. So basically, it's 96% ethanol with menthol, peppermint, citronella, clove oil, cinnamon oil, lavender oil. So it's very pungent.
Yeah.
It's not even smell, it's pungent. And it was like slightly cold, like 37 and a half degrees Celsius. So it's you can have it like in a worst day. And I was like rubbing with it, so for their the nose and whatever. I was like, this feeling that basically you've got like a mental record scratch and your mind begins to backpedal. It's like, shit, what? And when I was having ammo all over my hands, it's like, wait a minute. Got the bottle, put it in the right, like in front of my nose. The only thing that I actually felt was the burning sensation of ethanol.
So were you using this stuff to test your senses, or were you using it because you had a cold?
I was using it because I had a cold, so for the runny nose and whatever.
Wow.
And it's like, fuck. And at first was slightly panic attack because it's a tool of work. So if it doesn't come back and we do not know how actually it works right now, maybe I should learn how to lay tiles or whatever to get another job.
Yeah, fuck. That's.
Yeah.
So at this time, did you know you had COVID?
Yeah, basically I never ever had. I was in the proximity range of COVID infected area. So yeah, basically, and so never ever, and I got sinus infection like twice a year, and never, even in the worst sinus infection, I hadn't lost the sense of my smell. So it was like
that's my biggest fucking fear about COVID is that here in Australia we've been relatively unscathed by it. We've had a little bit. We've had quite a few people die from it. Nothing like in Europe or anything.
Well,
like
in certain
that.
in certain parts of
Certain
Australia
places
too,
it's
like this
been-
place, like
it's-
the Gold Coast.
exactly.
Half the people on the Gold Coast don't even think it's real.
No, that's right. It's crazy because we've just been, here in Queensland, in our state, it's hardly been a thing, and but my biggest fear over it is like if I lost my sense of taste and smell, I'd panic. I literally don't know what I would do. I think I would. I can't tell you how bad I would feel about that. I don't know if I'd take up tiling though, Michael. But
you're doing some renovations, so maybe you'd be good at it.
But well, okay, but tiling, I don't know.
It's pretty hard.
And
anyway,
okay.
So
yeah, go on.
Yeah, so I've lost my sense of smell. I'm gonna re-roof the fucking house. I learn myself a new job.
Fucking hell. That's so scary. So how long did you end up losing your sense of smell and taste? Or was it just your sense of smell, or was your taste as well? Or?
No, only the sense of smell, but that's actually quite interesting concerning Polish language, because we actually lack one word that exists in, for example, English. We lack the word flavor. So flavor is basically the taste, the sense of smell, and the mouthfeel, right?
Yes.
3 things in one. We actually have the same word for flavor and taste. Smack.
Flavor is flavor the same thing as taste? No?
No, it's not. No, it's not. Because, for example, even if you have, I don't know, strawberry yogurt, let's say so, right? So basically, you do not have the taste of strawberry. Like the recent developments in in the knowledge of how human senses work is basically we can even have right now not 4, not 5, not 6, but maybe even 11 different tastes that we acknowledge on our taste buds.
Right.
Randy Mosher does a fuckload of job concerning this development. Actually, he's I think this year or maybe next year he will release a new book concerning the sensory analysis of beer.
Randy Mosher's coming out with a new book. Wow.
Yeah. Cool. And basically, flavor is when you've got a strawberry, right, or a beer. So in a beer, you will have like the bitterness, the acidity, maybe in some beers umami for when you've got a lot of yeast, sediment, whatever. But also you've got a lot of aromas that are from the hops, from the malts, from fermentation. So it's not like the flavor and the taste are the same. So taste is more basic. Flavor is combining everything, the viscosity of the beer, the carbonation, and whatnot. So it's quite a lot of different areas that deal with the sensory analysis of everything, to be honest. And going back to your question, Steve, so for 5 days, actually after 5 days, I started to having like 80%, I think so, and it went straight up. Actually now, I even have a lower threshold of having a vanilla or some types of oxidization in the beer. For example, the one that, especially in the beers that are light lagers, one type of oxidization is like almonds, almond candies. Yeah. And I've got such a low threshold for both vanilla and for this almond type oxidization.
What do you mean low threshold? As in you find it harder to pick up or easier?
No, it means he finds it easier to pick up.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's strange.
Especially for when you have done the hazy IPA. For me now, most of the strains that are used for the hazy IPAs, there's a fuckload of vanilla in hazy IPAs for me, just because of the fermentation.
Right.
Oh my God.
I think that I'm more even prone to phenols right now than I was before, even though I drank a lot of beers that, for example, Belgian beers or other beers that have the yeast phenol profile of fermentation. And actually what I've done after panicking at the beginning was having it more on the, let's say, medicinal scientist way how to deal with it. because I'm after biology, chemistry, university. I teach people about sensory about senses, about sensory analysis. So yeah, basically it's something that you can train. Like I know some of the judges that went like, yeah, I've lost my sense of smell, but yeah, it probably will come back. It's like if an athlete, a professional athlete, would be, yeah, I've broke my leg, and yeah, it's gonna, I don't know, it's gonna mend itself together. Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Yeah. No, you have to work on it. So basically, how human senses work is concerning the smell, right? Uh, we we do not have the senses just for our hedonistic pleasure of drinking beer, eating, or whatever. In the quiet, not so quiet words of Brain from Pinky and the Brain, our senses are to take over the world, right? So basically, they were our instrument on surviving in not so pleasant environment for us, right?
Yeah, of course.
So basically, how the sense of smell is wired inside our brain is it actually, before it goes to our consciousness, and we have like, I've got this black IPA coffee, right? Yeah, coffee notes, whatever. When you strip layer by layer, we are not designed by nature to, strip by layers. And yeah, we've got notes of this, we've got notes of that. The wire that goes inside from the nose to the brain goes from through hippocampus and amygdala. So basically, the regions of our brain that are dealing with emotions. So basically, the first thing that you have when you smell something are emotions. And some of the students, for example, from medical studies, have this way of learning vast majorities of material for exams, that they put different scents, essential oil use or whatever, when they have one block of knowledge that they have to learn. Wow. So it's easier for them to remember it, because everyone who listens to our podcast right now, right, probably has memories that are connected to a very strong aromas, either be pleasant or not.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you've had, I don't know, stomach flu or whatever, or you've poisoned yourself with some not so good food or alcohol, you probably remember the smell of that food, and it will go on for quite a while, and you will have a very negative reaction towards to those aromas. So the first thing that I've done, and actually I've studied a lot of papers concerning the rehabilitation of the senses after COVID, because most of them actually are in French, because that's a whole lot of business or businesses that are connected with the senses, especially in France. You've got the distillers, you've got master blenders, you've got winemakers, you've got cheesemakers, you've got chefs, you've got perfumers. There's a reason that in distilleries, the master blender is usually an old guy, and he's not, switched to a chromatography, right? Because you've got the intangibles when you blend something that, well, for the machine it'll be like 50% of this barrel, 25% of this barrel, 40% of this barrel, and we've got the product. And basically when you mix it, and the human go, right? Taste it, smell it, yeah, something is off. Something is off. You've got the intangibles. Not everything you can design on a spreadsheet and it will just add up, right?
Which is good, because we'd all be out of a job if that was the case.
Yeah, exactly. So one of the papers, and I actually did it like from, let's say, instinct. I didn't have any other ideas how to deal with it, so I just done it. And actually, in one of the papers for sommeliers, I actually read the same exact method, that you have to have at first, right? Two strong aroma sources that you actually can just recall right now. So for me, it was coffee, because it's like the first thing that I have in the morning, black coffee from Aeropress.
Mm.
So it was the coffee, and it was Citra hops, because everyone in the industry knows Citra hops, right? So you can just recall it right now. So I actually smelled it, and at the same time, I was recalling the aroma from the back of my head. It like a couple times a day. So it was the first thing that you can do. And actually, I'm in contact with Professor Agnieszka Hamerlińska from the University of Mikołaj Kopernik in Toruń, Poland. And she actually has her research on giving back the sense of smell by rehabilitation to oncology patients, because some of the operations that you can have, when you have a tumor inside your head, can actually block the ability to for the normal tracts of how you breathe, right? So you have special training, let's say, that you basically have a retronasal pumping of the air with your tongue or whatnot, or throat, back to the nasal cavity from the back, to have the any smell that you can have. Because when you don't have your sense of smell, it's one of the most basic and important senses that you have. So when you've got no smell, it's like the decline of the quality of life is huge.
Yeah, people don't really think about that, do they? Because you just constantly like when you said the tying to memories thing, like tying to emotions. Every time winter comes around and it goes from being really hot to, I mean, not that cold in Australia, let's be honest, but it's like a visible thing. You feel it, and you can kind of smell different smells, like the trees smell different, and you just instantly feel different. And it happens in spring here as well. Like the trees start flowering and you smell like the frangipanis and that. And you kind of get like an excitement about the season changing. Not to mention, every time you walk past a restaurant, or every time you get a coffee or a beer, or, play with a fucking dog and you can smell the dog. Like there's so many things you do that involve the sense of smell that you probably never think about.
It's fascinating. So you went through this whole process of sensory, I'm going to call it sensory physiotherapy.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So what was with this doctor out of, was it Turin or
Toruń? It's a Polish.
Sorry.
Toruń. It's a Polish town.
Yeah, sorry.
City.
Sorry, my Polish is pretty average, to be honest. And what was that experience like? Going through that rehabilitation process. Like, how did it feel?
Well, basically, sometimes you just, you have to get your shit together, not to wallow in pain that, I've got my sense of smell loss. What will I do, little bunny, right? Just get your shit together and do it, right? So either it work or it will not. But after like 2 days, I was like beginning to smell the coffee and the citrusy notes of the citra, right?
So when you started, you couldn't smell the coffee?
No.
Right.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And actually, I think also what I've told you, Steve, in the private messages, this is actually also from the scientific documents right now, but there were none then. That actually supplementation takes a huge role.
Right. Yes. Yeah, you mentioned that.
In having your senses back. Because
what sort of supplements are we talking here?
Actually, there are a couple that, the climate in Poland is like that. You actually have to supplement the vitamin D, because there's like scarce of sun for 9 months in a year. So yeah, vitamin D is quite crucial and vital, right? So right here. So D plus K, vitamins B, so B complex, vitamin C, of course, And zinc is also from the researchers from the research from the recent
Right.
developments of concerning COVID is like one of the things that are recommended. So it actually makes sense because if you're depleted from some of the minerals, vitamins, whatnot, it's actually harder for your body, for your organism to mend itself back together, right?
Mm.
So when you've got enough of vitamins, minerals, everything that your body actually needs to survive and to mend itself together, the reconvalescence time should be shortened. And it's not the case in every person, because I've for my YouTube channel I did record like 2 videos concerning this topic, and some of the people that commented actually, yeah, it worked, and some were like, yeah, I probably depends on your genotype, to be honest.
Yep.
How you deal with your organism memory of pathogens that you had, for example, as a child. Other recent developments are that basically, if you're a child, when you're a child, your uh, defense system learns by having to deal with different pathogens. And like in the 90s, I actually had in like primary school most of the sicknesses, diseases, illnesses, whatever you call it, that you've got vaccinations now for, which is nice because, well, I don't recall them nicely, and I would prefer not to have most of them. But basically, maybe because of that, some of the reactions that you have are not so, well, underwhelming. Let's call it that way.
Yep.
So yeah,
That's amazing. Wow, I'm just blown away by that. How are you now, mate?
Yeah, that was going to be my question. How long did you do this for, and at what point were you kind of? It sounds like you're not 100% back. Like things are different
yeah,
than they were.
yeah. I'm totally 100% back, even
Okay.
more for the phenols and whatever.
How long did that take to?
Going back to normal. The whole second COVID thing was like, I only had lower temperature for 2 days, and it's like, nothing more. Only the loss of smell was the main attraction, let's call it that way, in the second turn. But other than that, everything's totally fine. So I've got no, as they call it, long COVID symptoms.
Yeah, because it's sort of kind of unknown, isn't it? There's people who sort of have symptoms like a year later.
But yeah, but it's like, for example, my father, he says that he lost probably 70-80% of his smell years ago, just after flu. So
oh wow.
So there are people
not from
that
COVID.
No, from flu, normal flu. So
And it
basically,
never came back.
Yeah.
Shit.
So
Okay.
I'd never heard of that being a thing before COVID, but it's probably something you don't really pay attention to.
Yeah, the main problem is that the research concerning our senses, right? How they work, how many senses do we have, how many tastes do we have, flavors, or how the flavor works in our mind. For many years, we actually thought that we know everything. The taste map on the of the tongue that everyone was taught at primary school, high school, whatever, with the 4 basic tastes, and that we only have 4 tastes. Well, umami was discovered in 1908, so like more than a century ago. And like in the 90s, in the primary school, I was taught that there are only 4 tastes. It's like,
sweet, sour, salty, and hot.
Yeah, it doesn't and bitter, right? And it doesn't it doesn't make any sense. But now you've got like, most are in some of them are confirmed. Randy Mosher talks a lot about those new tastes, but for 11 right now, so it's like
11.
not even more than double the amount, because you've got the four basic that you said. You've got umami, you've got kokumi, which is basically a sister sense to umami, and it was developed by Japanese or researched by Japanese in 1916 or 1918, so like 10 years after the umami. We know how umami works because it's triggered by MSG, right?
Yes.
And kokumi is something similar, but it adds to the wholeness, to the body, to the mouthfeel. But we do not actually know how it works right now. There's fatty. Fat is basically a taste right now, and it doesn't actually. Every chef will tell you that the fat is the main source of flavors.
Fat is flavor,
right?
is the phrase.
Yeah, but actually the taste fatty is connected with sour, with acidic, because it's for the fatty acids that are degenerated.
Yeah.
So it's basically a sign for us that something is, well, we shouldn't eat that right now, yeah? Because we can get poisoned. Metallic is a taste. Calcium is a taste right now. There are actually the recent developments are maybe as a species, we do actually have taste buds connected with ethanol. It's like maybe.
Like an oath we do. I just finished my beer.
Yeah, me too.
So ethanol, there's some say that the hot, the capsaicin,
spicy, yeah,
the spicy one, it's also on the taste buds, not only on the mouthfeel, the germinal, yeah, something like that, nerve that we've got, but also a taste bud. Carbonation,
yes,
also is now said to be a taste.
That makes sense. Okay, I get where you're going. It's like I've never really thought about these in that way, but each one of those that you've mentioned is like, yeah, that's a different taste. Yes, okay. And it doesn't
I don't know
fit
what
into
calcium tastes like, but I can picture metallic.
Calcium, well, there's late Dr. Ian Horsney actually had a book about how alcohol is connected with us building the civilization. Because when you think of that, and you think about, well, alcohol taste, calcium taste, metallic taste, some of that, so it's like, So basically, when we've moved from the hunter-gatherer and we've started having cow, sheep, whatever, to milk them to make cheese, we've had fruits, we've got grains, whatever, to make alcohol. The metallic, for example, the bio, I don't remember the well, basically the iron from the meat is like more. I don't remember the English word for it right now. Yeah, the hole in the head. It's
that you mean
it's of more it's of more use for our organism than iron from the plants. It's more.
You mean like hemoglobin that's in blood?
Yeah. So basically, when you think about that, it was easier for us as a species to get our ass in one place, to have the cattle, to have to make a brewery, whatever, and to then having like a, I don't know, a vat on your back that you've got a fermenting mad and you've walking with a cow through the woods. So for us it made much more sense to be in one place and to build a fucking civilization. Alcohol and meat and cheese.
Oh.
Why not?
I feel like my profession is so much more noble now.
Yeah, actually,
dude.
Recently, they've discovered the brewery from 9,000 BC.
Wow,
Jesus.
It's not in my garage. I'll give it that. Hey, Dan. Calcium. What does calcium taste like? Just think chalky.
Oh yeah.
All right, and probably that goat you're drinking would have some degree of calcium in it, because generally hazy IPAs and stuff like that have a very high level of calcium, and calcium chloride and that sort of thing. They can come across quite, if the water's not done properly, they can come across tasting like aspirin sort of thing.
Yeah, mineral.
Yeah,
minerally aspirin-y sort of thing.
Yeah.
That's calcium.
Yeah, some wines have, this mineral taste that you've got in them, especially the cheap Spanish wines that are matured in this cement vats that they use.
Yeah.
You remember a couple of years ago there was this trend in craft brewing. You remember the egg?
What?
The egg. That's the
the egg-shaped fermenter. Yeah.
Yeah, it was from cement. What was it from? Something like that. So actually, at WBC 2016, I think Tired Hands near Philly had its saison in 3 different vats. So it was in a feeder, it was a normal stainless steel one, and it was in the egg. And the egg was like hideous. It was like if you would pour the beer on a pavement and licked it off.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's probably also a calcium.
Right.
Oh dear. Yeah. All right. Note to self. Don't put your beer in a concrete fucking container.
Concrete. Yeah, that was the word, concrete.
Wow.
Awesome. That's very cool. If you got more questions, Hendo. Otherwise, we've got a fan question segment, and I have a really good question from a fan that's very topical to this conversation.
Please go for it.
So, the question comes from Samantha Leith, who says, "Can you train your taste buds to like beer? I try. I read labels and think that sounds great, and then sad face emoji."
Yeah, basically, that's how children learn to appreciate new tastes, new flavors. One of the things is that basically very small children have even taste buds on their skin of their face. So when you see a small child that's like dipping itself in chocolate, it's not that they like the feeling of having chocolate on their face, but they do sense the chocolate flavor, the taste on here. So it
does it go away after a while? Does it?
Yeah.
Man, I wish I kept mine.
So basically, there's a lot of things that, well, now you probably would just taste the mask that you have to outside. So maybe that's the best idea. But you can always dip it in some sauce or whatever. So it's like maybe. Basically you can train that. So many flavors, many tastes are acquired. Like you've got the very nice term in English language, acquired taste, acquired flavor. So basically one of the most known acquired tastes is the bitterness, right? Because as a species,
people don't like bitterness.
As a species, something that is bitter for us, well, it's basically maybe a poison. So that's also a thing that you can play with in food pairing, because it's basically other flavors are quite easy for our brain, for everything. So you've got sugars, you've got the acidity is just the pH, you've got the, let's say, salty is like nitrium and chlorides, potassium. So it's like it's very easy, but concerning the bitterness, there's a whole area of alkaloids, everything that can be bitter and can be or not poisonous for us. So it's basically the first thing that you have when you taste something. Okay, so our brain is like, it's bitter, and then it goes to the consciousness. Yeah, we had it before. It's a beer. It's an IPA. We actually didn't die from that. Okay, right. So you've got the maltiness, you've got the hoppiness, you've got other things that there are. But you have to learn that it's not a poison, and because we're omnivorous, so we have quite a decent amount of taste buds concerning the bitterness. A cow or a sheep has even more, because, well, basically there's a lot of plants that it can eat and it can poison itself.
Mhm.
From the other hand, you've got a wolf that won't have bitter taste buds because what, a sheep is bitter? Wow. So I would start with it's not if concerning beer and how to like beer. In the BJCP guidelines 2015, it was like 85, 86, something like that. Styles, I think.
85, 86 what, sorry?
Styles in the
Style-
BJCP
oh, yeah, plenty.
25, something like that.
Yeah.
And now I don't know how many styles there are because I
over
think
100
nobody
now, I
knows.
think.
I don't know. No, I think nobody knows how many styles are now
Mm.
because you can have a beer and it will have like 6 words describing the style.
Yes.
And then you can add the barrel age, whatever. So
Yes.
we've got even more words. So I would start with beers that are connected with the flavors that you actually like.
Right.
So, for example, if you like, I don't know, tropical fruit, maybe start with beers that are less on the bitter side. Many high APAs right now.
Yeah, I was going to say that with
aren't
goat.
bitter.
Like a lot of people, I've got so many mates who drink this beer who are not really craft beer drinkers, and I suspect it's got a lot to do with that bitterness thing that you're saying, because they don't like the bitter flavor, and as soon as you take that out of it, they're like, "Holy shit, this beer is good."
And there's other flavors like chocolate as well. There's certain, darker beer styles, that sort of thing, that are very soft, not astringent, because bitterness comes from roast malt as well, and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I usually say to a person who goes, "Oh, I don't really like beer," I say, "Do you like chocolate?" And they go, "Yeah, of course." And I say, "Well, try this beer. It tastes like chocolate." And it's a really interesting one. I think probably as well. Who asked that question? What was the name of the person?
Samantha
Leaf.
Leaf.
Samantha Leaf.
Yep, Leaf with a T.
Leaf. Sorry. I think probably the other thing as well is, as Michael said before, with your sense of smell and taste being very closely associated in your brain physically with your emotional, the emotional part of your brain. Maybe Samantha just needs to have a beer whilst having a very positive experience just to reinforce that.
Yes, I like that. Like sitting on the beach, soaking up the sun, breathing in the sea air type situation.
Absolutely.
There's actually one funny story that Matt Brynildson from First and Walker once told at Braubeviale, because Braubeviale is a huge beer expo in Nuremberg. It's held for 3 years in a row, and on the 4th year there's a drinking in Munich. And there's always a seminar by American hop growers Yakima Chief. And Matt Brynildson is one of the speakers there. And many years ago, he told story about, because where they are, there's more, maybe not now, but then more wineries than breweries. And it was usually, the whole idea, the genesis of American wheat was like beer for women, right? I don't believe that there's something like that, a beer for women, but it was, you get the point. But he told that actually they experimented, because usually the case was that, the wife had the tour around the wineries, and after that, when you've done it, the husband took her to the brewery, and they tried with different beers that women that normally do not drink beer would like. And he tried different low alcohol, light styles. And one of the days, he told that, fuck this. And they gave the double or imperial IPA, American IPA, this huge beer, right? Huge body, a lot of hops. Also, the bitterness was like 100 IBU, something like that.
Big bitterness, yeah.
But as it works with connection to the body, it's just like we've hit the spot, right? So, yeah, that's a beer. It's like citrusy, tropical fruit, liquor, whatever. It's great. It's wonderful, right? Because even though on the chart you've got those 100 IBUs, it should be bitter. But because of the alcohol content and the huge malt backbone that you had, and a lot of those tropical, citrusy, hoppy aromas that there were, it was like, Oh, that's a beer. Yeah, I like this one.
Oh, the massive. It's a massive. What you're just sort of describing there is a big amount of complexity in a beer.
Exactly.
Because a lot of people who don't like beer basically think that beer is yellow and fizzy and 5% alcohol and all that sort of stuff, and that's their perception of what beer is. But yeah, when you throw something big and bitter and all those fruity hop flavors in there, it really makes people sort of stand up and take notice. So there you go. How about for Samantha some of Toshi's Mega Hornet?
Yeah. Well, your friend would definitely like the 11% Mega Hornet. That's got plenty of all of that. That was good. I've got a question actually. I don't know if this happens to you, Hendo. When you're saying that about the big sort of hoppy resinous IPAs, I remember the first time I had one of two IPAs, either the Fig Jam by Burley Brewing or the Little Creatures IPA, were the first two IPAs I had ever before I knew IPA was a thing. And I remember tasting it and just thinking, fuck, this is incredible. Like, especially Fig Jam. It was just.
I remember the first batch of Burley Fig Jam. It was amazing.
It was amazing, and this has happened to me throughout years. This is, I don't know, 10. How long ago? Was it? A long time ago. 10 years ago, at least, probably. But even with our beers, like the first time I had Hornet or any of our beers, or the first time I had fucking any of the Stone or any of the real famous, or Ballast Point, any ones of those. It blows your mind, and that goes away. Like for me, like I never thought that would happen to me. Like I was always the biggest frother and I would never go away, but it's fucking gone.
That's called the lupulin threshold shift, mate.
I don't like it. My question is, can you reverse it?
Yeah, man, you just jump in your time machine and go back in time. And
it's a serious question. I don't get as excited about the beer as I used to get.
So the term Michael, who invented the term lupulin threshold shift? Was it an American brewer? Was it I'm
gonna Jamie this shit and find out.
Wasn't it Mitch Steele?
Yeah, it might have been Mitch Steele, I think. Yeah,
I'm going to be Jamie from Joe Rogan podcast and find it out.
Yeah, please. It's
Vinny
actually a thing. Vinny Cilurzo. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's Vinny Cilurzo who's from Russian River Brewing, right?
Yep.
So
yeah,
like Vinny Cilurzo fucking invented West Coast IPA. Pliny the Elder and that sort of thing. Probably one of the best known IPAs in the world. And he basically said that had happened to him with Pliny and with Blind Pig, his older IPA, where people would drink it, be blown away by it. And his jam was about consistency of the product. And he would go and select the hops from season to season to make sure that the beer was the same. And people would go, this year's one's not the same as last year's one. Mm-hmm. The beer hadn't changed.
Yeah.
But the person had changed.
Yeah.
And it's a thing. So you've had a lupulin threshold.
Yeah, well, can you reverse it? That's my serious question.
To be honest, yes,
my theory is don't drink beer for 6 months and then try again and see what happens.
Yeah.
I don't want to test that, but this is my theory.
No,
I don't know.
To be honest, maybe not drinking beer, but switch to other styles. You know what do I drink most of the time right now? Lagers.
Yeah.
Me too.
Actually, most of the time now I drink lagers.
I feel like that's happening to everyone who used to be into hops. Like all the craft beer people, that's all they drink now. It's lagers.
It's called evolution, mate. We're transgressing to a higher state.
Well, what was the point of the whole thing? We had lagers the whole time. We could just drink them.
That's true. To be honest, like one of the beers that I have, well, not daily, but it's like the season for it, is the Hacker Pschorr Oktoberfest Marzen.
Oh, that's so good, that beer.
That's like the perfect dark Marzen that you can have. It's like, like nobody would bat an eye for this from the beer geek community because it's not like
they don't think about it. It's not cool.
It's not cool. It's for old people. So maybe I'm old right now.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Speaking of
bogs, right? Bog beers. Belgian beers, Czech beers. It's like most of the time, great something's with the connection right now.
It's all right. You're still going, mate.
Yep. Most, the traditional styles, there's so much that you can learn from them, and so much flavor and taste, and just joy of drinking a beer.
So a hop detox. I could do that as an experiment for this podcast, Hendo. Have a month off hops. Well, a month off aromatic, sort of fruity hops, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe go for beers with the the old noble hops varieties.
Yeah. It's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like it's interesting because like I love IPA, but I don't drink that much IPA anymore. I guess it's maybe because I might have subconsciously trained myself that if I want that really hoppy, awesome sensation, that I have to sort of not have it for a while and then go back to it. Because like there's only been a few times, in the last sort of, 10 or more years where I sort of got really into IPA. My first pint of Plenty was amazing. And then I think probably the next time that I really just had an IPA and went, oh my God, this is amazing, was actually the very first batch of Hop Nation, the Dawn, which is was just phenomenal. I went to this smoked meat restaurant called Up in Smoke, and we ordered 3 pints of the Dawn.
Nice.
And I could, and as soon as my mate left the bar, turned around, I could smell the pineapple and the citrus of this as he's fucking walking to us. And I'm like, am I smelling the beer that we're about to drink? Holy shit. And it was absolutely mind blowing. And the third time that it happened was here at my place. And I got given a 4-pack of Range Dripping in Green. I think it was the second release of it. And I could give him beer all the time. And I just left it in the fridge for the month. And I went, I'm going to try this, And it was like, it's a hazy IPA, Michael. And cracked the can, I actually poured it into a glass, Dan. And I just went, holy moly. I couldn't believe this is a hazy. It was a month old and I was just blown away by it. Really, they're very rare experiences when they happen. Fucking amazing, hey?
Yeah. That's sad though. Like that is actually a sad thing. Like I always thought that wouldn't happen to me, and it would be sad if it ever did, because I felt bad for people that it happened to, because they weren't as excited about the beers that I was discovering as I was. Yeah,
but life's meant to be up and down, mate.
Yeah.
If every beer tasted like amazingly hoppy and that sort of thing, you would switch off to it.
I think ignorance is bliss. It's better not knowing some of this stuff.
I've got an idea, Dan, for you, mate. I think you should go on a little bit of a malt journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are some really good, some styles that you could chase up. Metzens are really good style to chase. Have a look at some Scottish ales, perhaps. Some red beers, usually pretty, not the hoppy red beers, but like a good Scotch ale.
We just did an alt beer that I really enjoyed. For our kind of German beers, we just did.
Mick brew that because Mick's bloody good at that.
Mick likes those ones, yeah.
But he's very good at it, and it's a very good alt beer. What else do you reckon, Michael? What should he try for a bit of a malt journey?
I would go with Belgium. Totally with Belgium. Go with doubles, go with triples, go with even quads.
Well, there's a Belgian brewery called Maddock opening just down the street from where we are right now.
In a couple of weeks.
Very soon. So
yes.
Perfect.
So, and they've got a Belgian wit. They'll have a Belgian wit on.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's a perfect summer beer.
Do you know what you need, Dan? You need a hop fast.
Yes.
You need a fast from the hops.
All right, let's do it. I do like the
and I think if you're going to do it, mate, this is like if you're going to do it, you got to be fucking serious about it.
I'll do it. Let's do it. I'll do it.
I think 3.
Jesus, Hendo, what are you doing to me? 3 months with no hops.
3 months. Now you're going to have to get Gubs to keep a steady supply of multi beers coming.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I
but
can acquire beers from other breweries. That is
And
something I could.
Did you know there
possibly
are
do.
breweries in Australia there's a brewery in Australia that purely focuses on malt? That's Killer Sprocket.
Right.
Nice.
I had some of their beers really
Yeah.
early on. They did
Yeah.
they did like a smoked beer.
Yeah, Bandit. Yeah, they did
Yeah,
Bandit.
yeah.
It was peated, 10% peated malt.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's all Sean and Andrea do at Killer Sprocket is they focus on the malt. That's his jam, you know.
How about we do
And
1 month and then I'll report back on the results. And if it doesn't work out, then I'll consider for longer. 3 months, Hendo. That's too long. I
that's
like
a
hops.
great
It's all I
idea.
drink. It's all I drink. All
It's
I
a
drink
palate
is
reset. You can do
is-
a month.
Yeah,
I'll do a month.
that's a palette reset, and that's a great idea because look how many malt varieties you can have. As a brewer,
Heaps.
you've got all the
Heaps.
catalogs from different maltsters, and it's like even chocolate malt. Let's say one monster has a chocolate malt, but it's like totally the other way around. From, for example, other maltster will have a chocolate malt. You always look on the charts, and for example, one will be 800 EBC, the second one would be 900 EBC, and from the whole procedure of technology of the roasting the malt will be different. So you will have totally different aromas and flavors from it. So
Yeah.
and you've got so many wonderful beer styles, traditional beer styles that are connected with malt and not with the hops. So it's like a journey from for the basics, and then you can always have your thoughts on how I would do this malt with more hops, for example, or
Mm.
whatnot. Yeah.
You know what it's going to be, Dan? No hop November.
No hop November. Okay. No, I'll do it from
No
from
hop
now.
November.
I
And
probably
then we'll do it in 6 months' time. We'll do malt March.
Okay. Can we do malt March and I'll just not do this for 6 months? That would be
No.
preferable.
You at least have to do no hop November.
Okay, I'll do no hop November. All right, deal. I like this. This is good. This is fun.
Do we have any other questions?
No, well, no. I had questions for us that probably aren't relevant to the current conversation, but I did think it might be good for us to get a channel for people to suggest more questions, like a Facebook group or something. But
yeah,
because these questions are from the original thread I posted kind of a couple of months ago.
yeah, we can do that.
Because if we had a group, we could have said we're getting this guest on.
Do we have a Twitter?
We don't have a Twitter. Do we need a Twitter? I don't.
We need to be on the Twitters, I think.
Okay, all right, we can do that.
So you can send it into the Twitter. We don't know what it is yet.
Boss and the Brewer.
Oh, that's more than 12 letters, man. That's probably not going to work.
Okay, Boss and Brewer. No, well, I think Facebook.
Actually,
I think Facebook group because
Facebook group is good.
Yeah, let's start with the Facebook group, and then if we'll know if no one joins it, then the whole idea was stupid.
Yeah,
but Twitter's a weird one. I swear like no one in Australia uses Twitter, but everyone around the world does.
Yeah.
Do you use it?
Well, I do have a Twitter account, but basically I think Twitter is mostly for politics.
Yeah, yes. It's politics and journalism and technology and stuff.
Yeah.
That's not what I get into social media for.
No, craft beer is Instagram and Facebook.
It's dog videos, puppy videos.
Yeah.
Like Elon the Pocket Bully's always in.
He's a good boy. He's asleep next to me. I've actually got him at work today.
No leg humping this week.
No, it's good.
Yeah, I was about to ask this one because I was listening to your podcast. Yeah, he's humping my leg right now. So, okay.
He's good. I don't know if you can see. You can see him right there. He's fast asleep.
Oh my god. He's gotten so big.
Elon, what's up?
Oh, you woke him up.
Sorry, dude. Go back to sleep. Yeah.
He's going to hump your leg now. You woke him up. He's going to wake up horny.
Whoa! Wow. Okay. Well, that was good. That was awesome, Michael. I wasn't expecting all that detail. I fucking learned a lot. I wasn't expecting to learn that much.
Michael, thanks heaps, man. That was amazing. I am so glad that you have your health, because at the end of the day, your health is your wealth and not the other way around. And I hope your family and your friends are safe over there in Poland. And thanks heaps for joining us.
Well, same applies to you guys. Thank you very much for having me here. And maybe next time, if you want to have me here, I'll take a day off and we'll crack some beers together.
Yeah,
Shit, yeah.
sounds good.
Yes, absolutely.
From Nineford, yeah, why not?
Yes,
But
of
no
course.
hops. No hops in those beers.
No hops.
That's actually quite nice idea because I don't know if you have Grodziskie in Australia. Gretzer?
Oh, you ran a Grodziskie competition recently, didn't you?
Well, recently May or June, something like that.
Yeah.
There's all last year. I think there were none because of reasons, right?
Yeah.
But there's always once a year there's a Grodziskie competition.
Can you describe the
there's-
style for those who don't know it?
Oh yeah, Grodziskie is like one of the three endemic beer styles in Poland. Basically, the other two are the Baltic Porter, which we brew a lot and are very good at it. And this the second one was Jopen beer, which was from Gdańsk. And actually, nobody knows what exactly was it and how was it brewed because from the history scripts that were lived to our times. So it's like it was not sold by volume, but on the weight, and it was so extractive, so such a high extract of it that it was to be diluted with beer. But going back to Grodziskie is basically a 100% smoked oak wheat malt. So
Wow.
it's 100% wheat malt that it's smoked with oak. So you've got not like the traditional German Rauchbier,
which is Beechwood.
Beechwood, yeah. So the Beechwood is more like on the smoked ham bacon side, and this one is more. Yeah, the people that do not like Grodziskie say that it smells and tastes like water after boiling sausages.
Hot dog water.
Hot dog water, exactly, hot dog water. And it's very low ABV, low extract. It's like, depending on who brews it, but it's like about 8% extract. So it's like...
so it's about 3-ish, 4-ish%.
Free-ish ABV. And it's very highly carbonated. So like sometimes it's even called Polish champagne. And it's one of the best beers that you can have for summer. Pinta, a brewery that had its 10 years anniversary this year, they actually brewed Grodziskie and they had it on their party, the birthday party, and it was like it was summer. Yeah, it was in August, so it was like 25 degrees and sun, and I drank like 2.5 liters of Grodziskie and was totally sober. It's like an electrolyte that you can have. It's a perfect beer style for the summer, and you've got
run a marathon.
Yeah, exactly. It's actually it would be quite a nice beer for after the marathon. So like you've got a lot of for such a, let's say, thin beer, you've got a lot of flavor, packs flavor because of that.
That's a malt thing as well. You need. I don't know if anyone's making a Grodziskie in Australia. If it's 100% wheat, that would be very difficult to brew on traditional lauter and that sort of thing. You'd need like a mash press or something like Young Henry's or Brock's Brewing.
They actually brew it in a traditional, let's say, normal brewery.
Yeah.
But for example, you have to use husks like
rice hulls.
Rice hulls.
Probably a lot of them too. But you could make it. You could actually make that happen if it's only like a 8 Plato, 7 or 8 Plato beer. Totally doable.
Yeah. And the most funny part of Grodziskie is that Imperial Grodziskie is like 10% extract. 10 Plato.
Oh, so it's 5%.
Yeah.
Or 4%, 4.5%. Whoa.
Yeah.
Slow down, Michael. I know you guys love your alcohol over there in Poland.
Slow down, Satan, right? Exactly.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's a perfect beer style if you want to try the more on the multi side beers. And it's hopped with Polish lubelski hops, which is basically daughter or sister of Czech Saz. So you've got all the noble hop aroma that, like, the herbal side is slightly earthy. It's like it's very hard to balance a beer that is so low on alcohol and an extract and brew it properly, because every fuck up that you can have, especially on light beers. Yeah, it's gonna see it. There's nothing to hide. Actually, this is one of the things that I stopped drinking the hazy IPA so much. It's like one at a time. If I'm interested in this one, I'm gonna drink it, because not once, not twice, they are made so hastily to be. Yeah, it must be packed with hops. It must be so fresh that with those hop rates that go to 30 grams per liter or even more, right? There's quite like this hoppy wall that you can have acetaldehyde.
Yeah.
So there were not once, not twice. I had one beer in the evening, and the next day I had hangover.
Acetaldehyde gives you a hangover.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like,
that's insane.
Well, maybe I can find one of these beers just as in a bottle somewhere in a kind of place like Brewski or something.
If anyone's listening and knows where you can find a Grodzitskia in Australia, or if there's an Australian brewer or indeed brews one, because I can't think of one off the top of my head, let us know.
bossandthebrewer@gmail.com. That's how you do it.
Is that us? Yeah, just that's all we got is email.
We got an email today, but it was a spammer trying to sell us some consultancy. So that's about all we're getting in there at the moment.
Are we hiring at the moment?
Well, you never know. Maybe one day.
It depends how big we get.
Yeah. Baby steps.
Awesome.
From big little things,
thanks,
big
guys.
things grow.
That was absolutely amazing. Cheers, Michael. Thanks heaps for your time today. Thank you, Dan.
Yeah, thank you. Very good. Thanks, Michael. I'll see you soon. We'll wrap it up, and we'll save the normal news stuff for next week.
Yeah, too easy.
Awesome.
Have a splendid evening right now, right? Which is what's the
I'm
hour?
off to the pub, so yeah.
Oh yeah, you got the
I'm going to the Brewdog thing to
Collab Fest.
The Collab Fest, yeah.
Nice. Enjoy. That sounds fun. Love me a bit of Brewdog.
Yeah.
I can't wait till they put that hotel in there. I'm moving in for sure.
There's a hotel going there.
I reckon.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Cheers, guys. Bye.
Okay. Cheers, guys. See ya.